And welcome up to Millard South Media for the nightcap. The Class A semifinal. The winner of this game will play the number 1 seeded WS Thunderbirds. And man, oh man, it's going to be a good one. Number 2, Millard North taking on number 3, Westside. My name is Wilson Dittman alongside my partners, Jonathan Spieler and Mason Steinhoff there. And let's start off with you, Jonathan. What are you expecting today from this ball game?
I mean, Class A, two great teams. I just expect a good game, honestly.
And let's go to you, Mason.
Well, I mean, it doesn't get much better than this. You know, Millard North, they've got Derek Rollins on their team, only a junior, and he's averaging around 18 points per game. So you got to keep your eyes, and you also got to keep your eyes on Elijah Gaith, one of the most efficient passers on the team as well. And then when I look at Westside, expect Kevin Stubblefield to get on the scoreboard a lot today. Also, Nebraska football commit Caleb Benning is on this basketball roster too. He can be a playmaker when this team needs him to be. So a very interesting basketball game on our hands for sure.
Yeah, star-studded battle. You look at Westside, they haven't been in this game in a very long time, but really built up talent over the years, and they finally believe they have the roster to compete for a state title. You mentioned Caleb Benning, Kevin Stubblefield. C.J. Mitchell's a guy at that guard spot averaging 13 points a game. He's going to have a big night tonight if Westside wants to win. Then we look at Millard North. Neil Mosser. I mean, that's the storyline of this team. At 15 points per game. I mean, super efficient shooter, over 50% from the field. He's a guy that the Mustangs love, and they want him to go out with the bang tonight, trying to get to yet another Class A title. So Millard North taking the floor right now in the all-whites as the home team, getting ready to warm up. And then when you look at Westside, they've yet to take the floor, but we can imagine they're likely in their all-blacks. It's a blackout for both student sections, and Westside is the away team tonight as the 3 seed. And both teams, I mean, look at their records, very, very solid. We look at Millard North, 23-3, and the West Side, 20-4. Very talented, and again, the record reflects that nobody's making a particular Cinderella run. It's more so there's talent all around. These teams are right where they should be. So Millard North on the floor warming up. And real quick, let's just run over some of the other games we saw today, specifically the Class B and the Class A game that we just saw. Let's just start it off with Scott going up against Crete. This is the first game we cover today here on Millard South Media. And Crete led for the majority of that ball game. They're undefeated, and Omaha Skutt pulls it off right at the end, winning 55-47, and they're going right back to the Class B state title game, Mason.
Yeah.
Yep, and then we go over to the Norris game, which you two called. I didn't call that one, but Norris for Scottsbluff played Class B. And Jonathan, what did you see on that one?
Yeah, it was a great one. Norris dominating for most of the game. I think they were winning
65-47 officially.
65-47. Sorry, I forgot the score there for a second. But yeah, Norris dominating most of that game. Scottsbluff just could not, I guess, compete with Norris.
And one of the things about Scottsbluff is that they're so located in western Nebraska that they don't really play a bunch of Class B schools. They're playing Class C and Class D, and at this point in time, they didn't help them very much.
Yep.
So Westside is officially taking the floor as well, warming up. They're in the all-blacks like we predicted. And let's just take this time to really check out the student section. We do these student section reviews. Again, blackouts for everybody. Let's start it off with Millard North. They're about, let's say, 8 rows deep. This is a very good student section for the Mustangs. One of the better we've seen today. And then we look at Westside, a little bit thinner. I'd say about 5 rows deep, but still very admirable, especially compared to the student section we saw for the last Class A game. Probably wasn't as good. So both teams done with warm-ups. They're getting ready to huddle up. In about 1 or so minutes, they're going to announce the starting lineups. And just a phenomenal game that's going to be underway for the nightcap. They like to say they saved the best for last, and that's what we're expecting tonight between Millard North and Westside with a bid for the Class A state title on the line. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with you. And welcome back to this one. So they're going to get started by announcing the benches of both squads. So they'll go to Westside first as the away team, then Millard North. Then after that, they will go through the starters. So again, they're starting off with Westside. Westside's bench will be announced, the number 3 seed in this tournament. And their squad, about as talented as anybody. We'll see if that comes through today. On Wednesday, when Westside played, they went up against Lincoln Southeast, the 6th seed in this tournament. They beat them 60-51. Again, just running through the benches right now. Looking at the crowd, very full, almost as full as we've seen all day long. We'd expect tomorrow night to be pretty full as well. But again, Millard North and Westside representing, coming in from Omaha. So they go through the Westside bench. Now it's time to go over the Millard North bench. Millard North in the all whites today as the home team with a 23-3 record this year. Again, it's a quality roster for Millard North, and it's very young too. There's a lot of guys here they feel great about going forward. Pierce Mooberry coming off the bench, a guy they really like to get involved. And that's a Husker recruit for anybody listening. That's interested in Nebraska. He just recently received an offer at the linebacker spot, so he's trying to make an impact today for the Mustangs. So they go through the bench for Millard North. Now it's time to go through the starting lineups. Starting off with the Westside Warriors. Ricky Lofton getting things started, number 1. Now number 2, Caleb Benning. Number 3, Kevin Stubblefield, 6'4", up next. Now over to C.J. Mitchell, the point guard. And last but not least, rounding out the starting lineup, Carson Healy. And they're head coached by Jim Simons. It's now getting over to Millard North in their starting 5. The number 2 team in this tournament at 23-3. Starting off with number 1. They get a standing ovation from the crowd. And the first one is Grant Urbanek. Now number 11, Isaiah Gaith. Number 13, the star, Neil Mosser. Number 15, Camden Money. And last but not least, averaging 18 points a game, the leader of this team, only a junior, number 23, Derek Rollins. And Millard North is head coached by Mike Etzelmiller. And let's get this thing started. So both teams on the court getting ready for a handshake line on the midline. And they're doing just that. So let's get ready for some basketball here on Millard South Media, the final semifinal here on a beautiful Friday night in Lincoln, Nebraska. Millard North in a huddle. They're at midcourt in their all whites. On the other side of things, the Omaha Westside Warriors in their all black, huddling up at midcourt, getting ready to get this thing underway with a bid for the Class A title on the line here on Millard South Media. Here we go. Both teams getting in their rightful positions. Kevin Stubblefield will do tip-off duties for Westside. Derek Rollins on the other end for the Mustangs. The ref getting to midcourt, ready to get this thing started. Throws up the ball, and Westside wins the tip, and let's get this thing on a roll. Caleb Benning will give it over to C.J. Mitchell to start things off. Good ball mover all around the perimeter, over to Ricky Lofton. Now to Benning on the right wing. Benning being double-teamed, being trapped now over to Carson Healy. Carson Healy back to Ricky Lofton. Working on that left wing, guarded closely. Now trying to drive inside. Good defense here by the Mustangs. Screen set for him. Throws it all the way to the corner to C.J. Mitchell. Pass up a good look from 3. 6 seconds on the shot clock. Has to give it over to Caleb Benning. Working his way inside. Tough layup for Benning. Up and no good. Rebound by Derek Rollins of Millard North. He'll bring it across the timeline and throw it over to Neil Mosser, who gives it right to Elijah Gaith. Gaith working at the top of the key. Guarded closely. And has to give it right over to Mosser on the Husker logo. Millard North going left to right. Now gives it over to Camden Money. Now to Derek Rollins on the left wing. Puts up a three-pointer, contested, no good. And that'll be rebound by C.J. Mitchell of Westside. He'll push the pace. Working his way inside. Tough layup off the glass, no good. Rebounded by Gaith of Millard North. He'll now go the other way. Both teams looking for their first bucket. They throw it over to Neil Mosser, but it's poked free. Both teams fighting for it in the backcourt. Westside gets under it. They throw it over to Ricky Lofton, who showtime puts it down for a wide open dunk to start off this ball game.
Some good momentum there by Westside.
So Millard North trying to respond now, down 2-0. They give it over to Grant Urbanek. Now to Rollins in the left corner, backing down his man. Working his way inside the paint. Now throws it over to Money. He just puts that in for an easy layup. 2-2 ball game, already back and forth. Caleb Benning brings it across the timeline, now gives over to C.J. Mitchell on the Husker logo. Star-studded Westside lineup along with a Millard North lineup just as good. Mitchell gives it over to Heedy. Now to Lofton, who puts up a tough layup. No good, rebounded by Gaith. He'll bring it across the other end for Millard North. Mustangs setting up their offense, trying to feed Derek Rollins inside. They throw it up to him. Backing down his man, putting it on the post moves, and he with another layup to get things going. Derek Rollins with his first bucket of the game. Caleb Benning on the other end gives over to Ricky Lofton, now throws up to C.J. Mitchell. Good ball movement. Now Kevin Stubblefield, the points per game leader for Westside. Crossover, mid-range J, up and no good. Rebound once again by Gaith. Gaith will bring it across the other end. Working on the baseline. Tough pass over to Rollins. That one's tipped. Almost goes out of bounds. Stays in somehow. Rollins falls on it. And looks like they're going to call a jump ball. And that will stay with the Mustangs.
Looks like Stubblefield was trying to fight for that jump ball and got it.
So Gaith will inbound under his own basket. And it looks like they're going to call a foul off the ball before he even inbounded it. That's going to go on C.J. Mitchell. So Gaith once again to inbound, looking for a man, finds Neil Mosser in the right corner. Mosser now driving baseline, backing down C.J. Mitchell. Tough pass over to Gaith inside the paint. He's backing down a man as well. Puts a turnaround J, no good. Rebounded by Healy of Westside. Healy throws up to Ricky Lofton on the left wing. Back to Healy at the top of the key. Trying to drive inside. Right-handed layup, no good. Mustangs pushing the pace on the other end. Gaith working on Benning. Kicks it over now to Neil Mosser, guarded by Stubblefield. Now over to Rollins, backing down his man. Tough layup, got it to go. Derek Rollins is so crafty inside the post. C.J. Mitchell now has it on the right wing for Westside. They struck first in this ballgame, have yet to get a bucket since then. Caleb Benning now working his way inside. Tough layup, somehow falls for the Nebraska commit. Neil Mosser across the Husker logo. Still yet to get his first bucket today. Feeding Derek Rollins once again, why not? Now Gaith, wide open three-pointer at the top of the key. Does not fall, and C.J. Mitchell bring it across the other end. Mitchell driving inside. Tough layup, falls for the point guard.
A nice job at Westside, kind of controlling the tempo here.
Yep, they're playing their own game to their accord. Gaith on the left wing. Over to Neil Mosser at the top of the key. Now backdoor cut over Urbanek, wide open. Too easy. 2 points. Caleb Benning setting up the offense as he brings it across the floor. Over to C.J. Mitchell, who gives it to Kevin Stubblefield, who has not had a point so far today.
Looks like the Mustangs are in man-to-man right now.
Benning Has in the right corner, working on Urbanek. Now drives baseline. Tough pass over to Stubblefield, who dunks it home on Urbanek.
Wow.
That's one way to get going if you're Kevin Stubblefield.
The offensive execution there was just done to perfection.
8-ball game here in the first quarter. There's going to be a quick stoppage. They're going to call what looks like a turnover on Millard North.
A couple of subs coming in. Rosser and Rahan.
So Benning inbounds over to C.J. Mitchell, who will walk across the midline. Both teams catching their breath here, all knotted up at 8. They go give it over to Oddbody, who just checked in. Ball moving all around the perimeter. Now C.J. Mitchell, floater on the way, and he gets it to fall. Westside on a little bit of a run here. Now Millard North on the other end. Both teams already going deep into their bench to start off this ball game. Major Mosser has it. Gives it over to Derek Rollins on the right wing. Rollins being trapped, trying to work his way inside. Tough layup, and he's fouled on the way up. So that is going to send the Star forward to the line for a pair of free throws.
Mosser shooting 80% from the line.
Yeah, Neil Mosser, shooting 63% from the free throw line. Or Derek Rollins shooting free throws and shooting 63%. So the first one for Derek Rollins is no good.
Westside student section is getting hyped.
Second one, no good as well for Derek Rollins. Westside to bring it across the other end. They give it over to Maddox Anderson in the corner, who gives it right back to Kevin Stubblefield. 3-point on the way for him, blocked. Derek Rollins got a piece of that one. Neil Mosser picks up his dribble, gives it over to Derek Rollins down the corner, who throws it all the way over to Rahman, who has trouble with the pass, and it goes out of bounds.
Yep, that just went straight through his hands, tried to grab it over his head. And looks like number 25, Newberry, for the Mustangs, is going to check in.
So C.J. Mitchell bringing it across the timeline. Good ball movement over to Max Anderson, now Oddbody. Now C.J. Mitchell on the left wing, working his way inside. Being guarded by Major Mosser. Now kicks over the corner. 3-point on the way by Benning. Air ball. Rebound by Oddbody. Second chance now. Up and in. Tyson Oddbody with a crafty move coming off of the offensive board. Westside leads by 4 early in this one. Major Mosser gives it over to his brother, who puts up a 3. No good. And Westside comes down with the board. Stubblefield bringing it across the timeline.
Pushing the pace.
Stubblefield backing down his man. No good on the layup, however, and it's rebounded by Millard North. Mosser throws it up to Money. No good. That one's rebounded by Westside. They'll bring it across the other end.
And it's those wide open layups on the fast break you have to hit.
So there's a foul on the floor. That'll go on Millard North. So stay with the Warriors here. The minute left to play in this first quarter of action.
Lofton checking in for Westside.
So Lofton gives it over to Benning. Benning to Anderson on the right wing, who gives it over to Stubblefield. Good ball movement around the perimeter. Back over to Anderson. Anderson with a pass, trying to feed Stubblefield inside. Now over to Healy. 3-point on the way. No good. Rebounded by Neil Mosser. Mosser gives it over to Gaith across the timeline. Gaith back to Mosser. Long 3-pointer from the left wing. Got it!
Wow.
Neil Mosser with a heat check. And that's one way to get your first bucket of the game.
And you got to give Elijah Gaith there the credit with the pass. One of the most efficient passers on this team. He has over 140 total assists on the season.
So about a difference of 5 seconds in shot clock and game clock. Westside with the basketball up by 1 point. Healy has it on the top of the key. Gives it over now to Kevin Stubblefield on the right wing. Trying to maneuver his way to the paint. There's a foul called on Millard North. That'll go on Pierce Mooberry, and they're going to just check him right out of this ball game. So all the starters back in for Millard North. with 20 seconds left in this first quarter. Benning to inbound. Looking for somebody. Surveying. Now just has to throw it all the way to the backcourt to Kevin Stubblefield, who will corral it. Shot clock is now off, coming off of a foul. Now right back over to Caleb Benning, who has on the Husker logo, setting up the offense. Westside not in a rush, now with 10 seconds. Kevin Stubblefield has at the top of the key, guarded by Derek Rollins. Now driving inside on him, has a crease. Tough layup, and he's fouled on the way up. 2 free throws coming for Kevin Stubblefield. Stubblefield does it all for this Westside team, averaging 17 points per game, 5 boards, 2 assists. He's averaging 65% from the charity stripe, trying to extend the Warriors' lead. Millard North students actually trying to distract him. First one up and in for Stubblefield. Second one now up and in as well. So Westside extends their lead at 3. 4.5 seconds left. Millard North's just going to have to heave this up. Money inbounds to Gaith. He'll bring it across the timeline. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. Barely gets a shot off in time. That's an air ball. And that will be the end of the first quarter here on Millard South Media. Back and forth ball game like we expected, guys.
Yes, we did.
Westside 14, Millard North 11. And a quick look at the stats right now. Again, distributing the basketball, Neil Mosser really yet to get involved right now for Millard North, but just hit a massive 3. But really, for the Mustangs, it's been Derek Rollins just like it has been all season. On the other end of the side, Westside, again, been doing it in a multitude of ways. Still looking for C.J. Mitchell to really put his stamp on this game. So we're going to take a quick break here on Millard South Media, and we'll be right back for the start of the second quarter. And real quick, I want to thank our sponsor, Erickson Cedarstrom, providing you 55 years of legal excellence. If you want the best legal work in the city of Omaha or state of Nebraska, please go over to Erickson Cedarstrom, and they will get you done right. Jam-packed crowd here at Pinnacle Bank Arena for the Class A semifinals. Both teams retaking the floor. Westside in the all blacks today, up by 3 points against Millard North in their all whites. Very clean uniform game. And again, both student sections with the blackout. Maybe that was done on purpose just to kind of rival each other. So here we go. Millard North to inbound, down by 3. They give it over to Gaith, who'll bring it across the timeline. Gaith being guarded closely by Anderson. Gives it over to Money, working all around the perimeter. And now they find Neil Mosser. Mosser trying to feed Rollins inside, but it's taken away by Kevin Stubblefield. He loses the basketball, and it's going to stay with Westside. They say it went out on Neil Mosser, and from our perspective, it was clearly off of Kevin Stubblefield. Neil Mosser doesn't like it. So both teams very confused, and they're going to keep the call with Westside. So we're trying to get a view of that instant replay. And yeah, that was off of Westside. I mean, let's just call it what it is, but it's going to be Westside basketball anyways.
Westside fans were not happy about that one.
Healy has at the top of the key, and he goes over to C.J. Mitchell. He's working his way inside. Mitchell only with 4 points here early in this ball game. Now trying to feed Stubblefield. He's doubled. Over to Healy. Pass up a 3. Drives baseline. Tough layup. No good, but he's found the way down. And Millard North once again doesn't like that one. So Carson Healy, who's averaging about 60% from the free throw line, will go to the line.
And yet again, on that replay, there was minimal contact there, so refs must have saw something the camera didn't.
First free throw up and good for Carson Healy. Second one now up and good as well. It's a 16-11 ball game. Elijah Gaith brings it across the timeline, guarded by Benning. Now over to Neil Mosser on the left wing, guarded by C.J. Mitchell. Neil Mosser directing traffic. They give it right back to him. He's being double-teamed, has got to get rid of it. Trying to feed his way to Money, and Money's fouled on the way up. So that is going to send Money to the line for 2 free throws. One of the better shooters on this team, 73% from the charity stripe, and he makes the first one. A little bit of an interesting distraction tactic by the Westside student section. They're shining their phone's flashlight. That's a little interesting. I don't know if that's perhaps legal here for student sections, but they'll get away with it. Why not? Have a little fun. Second one up and good as well for Money. 3-point game. Westside leads with 7 minutes left to play here in the first half. Back and forth ball game like we expected. C.J. Mitchell over to Caleb Benning at the top of the key. Now to Kevin Stubblefield. Maneuvering his way inside. Tough layup. No good. Rebounded by Neil Mosser. Ball is on the floor. Taken away now by Westside. Caleb Benning comes up with it. So the Warriors are going to reset. Ricky Lofton signaling to slow things down. He gives it over to the corner. That's Kevin Stubblefield, guarded by Rollins, driving baseline. Tough pass over to Healy, taken away by Urbanek for Millard North. He's pushing the pace. Throws over to Mosser, back to Urbanek. Three-pointer on the way, no good. Rebounded by C.J. Mitchell. Mitchell with a tough pass taken away once again by Millard North. Now Gaith over to Rollins. 1-2 connection, and he connects.
Very nice dump off.
So 1-point ball game. Caleb Benning will slow things down. He gives it over to C.J. Mitchell. Ball moving all around the perimeter. C.J. Mitchell now driving side. Right-handed floater. No good. Both teams fighting for the board. Westside gets under it. Second chance now. They give it back over to Mitchell in the left corner. Now to Kevin Stubblefield. Crossover. Driving inside. Tough layup. Got it to fall. So North now going to slow things down over to Neil Mosser, guarded by Mitchell. Now to Rollins. Working all around the perimeter. Gives it now to Gaith. Tough pass, and they get the bucket to go. Gaith found Money, who connected despite the contact. 5 minutes left to play here in this first half. Lofton throws all the way over to Kevin Stubblefield. Stubblefield has at the top of the key, setting up the offense, working on Rollins, trying to drive inside. Good defense by Millard North, forcing him to back out. Now to Mitchell. Spin move, driving inside, crazy layup, and there's a foul before the shot got off.
Looks like that's going to be on number 11.
So it's going to stay with Westside after the Millard North foul. Again, neither team's really in foul trouble at all. Mitchell will inbound under his own basket. Gives it over to Oddbody. Oddbody signaling. Now to Ricky Lofton. Deep three-pointer. Not even close. Neil Mosser across the other end, trying to give his Mustangs a lead for the first time in a while. Over to Derek Rollins. Three-pointer from the right wing. No good off the glass. Second chance now for the Mustangs off of the offensive board. Over to Gaith now in the right corner. He takes a three-pointer. That one's no good as well. Finally, Westside comes down with the rebound. C.J. Mitchell pushing the pace. Tough layup blocked by Elijah Gaith. And they're going to call a foul after it happened, which gets a large disagreement from the Millard North fans. I'm not sure what the foul was even on. And they're going to say...
Yeah, was that on Gaith?
I can't even tell you. It was not a shooting foul. It was after the block they called something, which will keep it Westside basketball. Again, not sure of what the call was. But despite the fact, Westside still with the basketball. Ricky Lofton on the left wing, backing down his man, working the paint. Tough layup, no good. And the ball got out of bounds, and it'll be Mustang basketball. Yeah, that was a bad shot by Ricky Lofton. Trying to make something happen. Yeah, you look at the stats. I mean, Westside's only averaging 8 fouls a game. And when you look at Millard North, a little bit worse, around 12. But, yeah, that's way less than most other teams in Class A. Millard North on the other end. Gaith trying to work his way inside the paint. Puts up a layup, and he got it to go. So Millard North with their first lead since the first quarter. Stubblefield to Benning. He's trying to work his way inside. Tough layup, no good. They get her on board. Anderson, second chance now for Westside. Over Stubblefield, wide open three-pointer. And that one does not fall. Rahman on the other end now for the Mustangs. Driving inside the paint, there's a foul called on odd body of Westside before the shot went off.
Looks like we're going to have some subs in here for North and Westside.
So Millard North will inbound the basketball under their own hoop. They give it over to Derek Rollins, who puts up a contested layup, no good. Wow, my goodness, a huge collision, no foul called. They try to throw it up to C.J. Mitchell for Westside, and that one goes out of bounds. So after all that, Millard North will inbound again, but this time they'll have to go the full length of the court. They give it over to Amari Rahman, who brings it across the timeline. Gives it over to Moni. Moni working all the way around the perimeter, trying to drive inside. Picks up his dribble, back over to Rahman. Rahman working on Anderson, kicks over the corner. That's Rollins. Rollins has had a quiet second quarter after exploding in the first. Millard North resets. Moni has on the right wing. Now back to Rahman. He'll drive on Anderson. Tough layup, no good. And there will be a foul on Millard North while they were fighting for the board. That'll be the second for Derek Rollins. Not a guy you want to see in foul trouble. And they're going to check him out.
Mosser checking back in for Millard North.
When we talk about Neil Mosser, the star on this squad, only 3 points coming off of a heat check three, but other than that, Neil Mosser is yet to get going. Caleb Benning on the left wing. Now kicks it over to the corner. Back to Benning. Benning trying to feed Stubblefield inside. He's triple teamed right away. Gives it over to Mitchell. Now a three for him. Got it to go. C.J. Mitchell. Ice in his veins. Gives Westside the lead right back. Gaith has it on the left wing now for the Mustangs. 2-point deficit. Over to Moni. He drives baseline. Has to kick it all the way over to Major Mosser. Major gives it over to Moni on the right wing. Millard North taking their time setting up the offense. Gaith over to the corner. That's Rahman. Rahman working his way inside. Has to kick it back to Moni. 7 seconds of the shot clock. He has to put something up, and he's called for a travel. Millard North has been sloppy, and that offensive drive just looked poor without their star players in the game, Neil Mosser and Derek Rollins. So Westside bring across the timeline up by 2 points. Kevin Stubblefield over to Caleb Benning at the top of the key. Trying to feed Stubblefield, guarded closely by Moni. He's backing his way in the paint. Triple team layup, no problem for Kevin Stubblefield. Despite all the attention he is producing. 8 points in this first half for the big man. Westside leads by 4. Millard North trying to respond on their end. Neil Mosser with only 3 points today. Tough pass over to the left corner. Now over to Rahman on the left wing. Pass up a good look from 3. And now he's trying to find somebody to pass to.
Yeah, that's going to be a
kick. Tough pass, and it hits the leg of a Westside player.
Looks like that was out on Anderson.
So 1 minute 30 left to go here in the first half of action. Neil Mosser will inbound under his own basket. Throws it up to Urbanek, right back to Mosser. 3-point on the way for him, no good. Westside fighting for the board, but Rollins just gets handed it, and he just takes it for an easy layup.
Almost came out of nowhere there.
Rollins said, oh, look what I found. I'm wide open. Easy layup for the big man. C.J. Mitchell now on the other end for the Warriors, slowing things down over now to Kevin Stubblefield, who will drain this clock up by 2 points on the Husker logo. Stubblefield now choosing to drive on Rollins, double team, circus layup, got to fall. Kevin Stubblefield as good as it gets, folks. Neil Mosser now on the other end for Millard North. Has had a slow first half, and he's fouled. Ricky Lofton will check in this game for Anderson, and both starting lineups are on the floor.
Just under a minute left in the first half.
Gate to inbound under his own basket. Gives over to Neil Moster in the left corner. He's guarded closely by C.J. Mitchell. Signaling for a screen. Now trying to work his way inside. Has to kick it over to Money. Money on the top of the key. Gives it over to the corner. Rollins, who gives it Moster. Pass up a three. Now takes it. Left wing. Got it. Neil Moster with his second three in this ball game. He's up to 6 points.
Great ball movement there by Millard North.
25-24, shot clock is off. The Warriors can hold for one final look here in this first half. Millard North fans trying to get loud to distract C.J. Mitchell, who has it on the top of the key on the Husker logo. And he's just fine with sitting on this basketball. Kevin Stubblefield now, guarded closely by Elijah Gate. 8 seconds. He's the man. He's going to drive inside. Good defense right now by Millard North. Puts up a contested mid-range off the glass. No good. Ball is free, and the buzzer will expire, and that is your first half of action here at Pinnacle Bank Arena. A back-and-forth ball game. The Westside up by 1 single point going into the locker rooms over Millard North. Welcome up to the booth. My name is Wilson Dittman, alongside my partners Jonathan Spieler and Mason Steinhoff. So let's just start off with you, Mason. What did you see out there in that first half? So, Mason, excuse me, you were muted. Say it again.
Okay, I mean, we're watching championship-level basketball right now, Wilson. I think that first half was for sure a defensive showdown. Both teams showing what they're all about, the amount of discipline their programs have, and something that's often overlooked, off-the-ball movement. I think both teams are doing a great job with that, setting screens, cutting to the basket, and, creating opportunities for their teammates.
Yeah, that's a good point there, Mason.
Sure.
And then, Jonathan, what about you?
I agree with Mason. Good game overall. I mean, for Westside, as you know, number 3, Stubblefield, 10 points already in the first half, looking to improve. I think if you're Millard North, you need to stop him and shut him down. They're already trying to triple team him, and it's just not working. On the other half, 2 stars for Millard North, Moster and Money, both with 6 points. And really, they just have to keep doing what they're doing. It's only a 1-point game.
Yeah, it's just a battle of the dynamic duos. We talk about Westside. Of course, they have C.J. Mitchell and Kevin Stubblefield. And then you look at Millard North. Of course, Neil Moster along with Derek Rollins. Which duo will come up big in the final minutes of this ball game and get the win for their team going into the Class A state title tomorrow night? So, folks, we're going to have a timer on the screen. We have about 10 minutes until we get started with the second half. So grab some popcorn, grab some snacks. Tell your friends and family. This is going to be a close ball game right until the end. So you're going to be right here when we see who goes and plays tomorrow night for a Class A state title. We're going to see you then, folks. And welcome up to the booth, folks. We're getting ready for the second half of action. About a minute left to go. Both teams in warm-ups. 16 minutes of action until we find out who will play the number 1 seed WS T-Birds tomorrow night for a Class A state title. If you're just joining us, my name is Wilson Dittman alongside my panel, Jonathan Spieler and Mason Steinhoff. So let's just start off with you guys. Again, we'll go over what you guys saw in the first half and what you see going forward. Let's go to you, Jonathan.
First half, it was kind of a defensive battle. Both teams were hit and miss from the three-point line and from within the arc. Star players probably were definitely Stubblefield and number 23 Rollins for Millard North. I think moving on into the third and fourth quarter, more consistency from their shots, and I mean, played great those first 2 quarters.
Mason, quick fire, what did you see?
I think we're watching elite level basketball right now. You know, it's going to come down to who does more in all aspects of the game. You know, who will get more good looks at the basket, who will get more rebounds, who will make the most of first chance opportunities on fast breaks, stuff like that. And it's really the little things that will determine the outcome of games as big as this one.
Here we go. Both teams retaking the floor. Third quarter about to get underway. We'll get rid of the face cam here. And let's get this thing started. So Westside once again up by 1 point in the all-black uniforms with a red trim. And then we look at Millard North on the other end in the all-whites with a blue trim. Here we go. 16 minutes to decide who will be represented in the state title game. Westside up by 1 point. They inbound. CJ Mitchell has it. Now over to Healy. Healy back over to Benning, backing down his way inside the paint. Tough layup does not fall. Rebounded by Grant Urbeck. So Neil Moss will bring it across the timeline. Gives it over to Elijah Gaith on the Husker logo, guarded by C.J. Mitchell. Gaith with a nice crossover, trying to drive inside. Euro step, layup, got it. Elijah Gaith getting going early. The Mustangs right back at the lead. Kevin Stubblefield distributing the basketball, now has it. Backing down Rollins. Now to Caleb Benning, right to Healy. Healy, three-pointer on the way. No good. Stubblefield gets his own board, second chance. That one's taken away by Millard North. So Elijah Gaith will bring it across the other end. Coming off of a layup, puts up a three-pointer. No good, rebounded by the Mustangs. Second chance, right back over to Gaith. Now Rollins is going to back down Healy. Being double-teamed, Benning pokes it free, but it stays with Rollins. Tough pass taken away by Stubblefield. He'll go on a fast break. A one-on-one, right to the rack, and Kevin Stubblefield connects. So Elijah Gaith will bring it across the other end. Now gives it over to the corner. That's Money, and he's fouled by a Westside defender.
Looks like that's going to be Healy on the foul.
A blocking foul there.
So Neil Mosser will inbound. He gives it over to the top of the key. Right back to Mosser. Working off a screen. Nice little backdoor cut pass to Money. He connects for 2. Lofton now in the corner for Westside. He's trying to work his way to the paint, loses the basketball. It'll be off of the Mustangs.
Mustang fans were not happy about that call.
And they haven't been happy too much today. A lot of calls been going against the Mustangs, at least in their eyes. C.J. Mitchell now has it at the top of the key, guarded by Rollins. A little bit of a mismatch, gives over to Healy in the corner. He'll try to drive baseline. Backing down his man, now has to give it to Mitchell, who will reset. Back on a mismatch to Rollins. Now to Stubblefield. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Working his way to the paint. Picks up his dribble. Pivoting. Now over to Lofton. Three-pointer on the way. No good. Rebounded by the Mustangs. Neil Mosser will go quick. Brings it across the timeline. Over to the corner. Money. Now to Gaith on the left wing. He'll slow things down. Back over to Money. Backing down Caleb Benning. And they're going to say there is a foul on Caleb Benning. Once again, the fans just not happy here at Pinnacle Bank Arena. They know what's out on the stake. So Gaith will inbound for Millard North under his own basket. Looking for a man, now finds Mosser. Three-pointer in the corner, no good, just rattles out. Westside fighting for a board, they save it, and Benning will bring it across for the Warriors. Benning over to Healy. Healy at the top of the key, back over to Stubblefield. Stubblefield Pass it to the corner. Westside will slow things down. Tough pass over to Benning on the Husker logo. Now C.J. Mitchell. Pass up a good look from three. Working on Gaith. Crossover. Backing him down. Loses the basketball. Gets it right back. Tough pass over to Healy. And this time, they're going to say going out of bounds on a Mustang. Both teams kind of went down the floor fighting for the ball, and it looks like Millard North touched it with one of their body parts on the line. So Mitchell will inbound under his own hoop. 5 minutes left to play here in the third quarter. Surveying, looking for a man. Now finds Stubblefield in the corner. Good look from three. He'll take it, and he misses. Now Mosser will bring it across the other end. Only with 6 points today. Takes a long three. No good. Both teams fighting for it. Healy gets under it for Westside. Has to throw it up and bounce. He saves it. Now Lofton on a fast break. 2-on-1. And he'll be fouled on the way up on the layup. So Ricky Lofton will trot his way to the charity stripe for two. He's averaging around 80% this year. One of the better free throw shooters in all of Class A. So the first free throw for the senior guard, up and in. This game's all tied up at 28. Ricky Lofton with a chance to give Westside the lead right back with the second free throw, and he misses it. So Elijah Gaith brings it across the Husker logo, going right to left here on the court. Backdoor cut over to Neil Mosser, wide open layup for the point guard. Now Caleb Benning going the other way for Westside. Gives over to Kevin Stubblefield on the left wing. Now C.J. Mitchell on the right wing. Back to Ricky Lofton, now to Stubblefield. Ball moving all around the perimeter, setting up the offense. Trying to find a gap. Stubblefield now to Benning. Right wing, working. Guarded by Rollins. 15 seconds on the shot clock. Benning throws it all the way to the left corner. And again, just trying to find something here. 9 seconds on the shot clock. Long three by Mitchell. No good. Ball goes out of bounds off of Westside. So not a very productive possession there for the Warriors. A lot of ball movement. You just couldn't find anything open.
Looks like Oddbody's checking in for Westside. We have Mosser and Rahman for Millard North.
So the Mustangs up by 2 points here. 4 minutes left to play in the third. They'll bring it across the timeline. That's Elijah Gaith. Gaith working on the Nebraska logo. Over to Rollins now, who's had a quiet couple quarters ever since he exploded in the first. Now Major Mosser throws it up to Derek Rollins. Body and Kevin Stubblefield, he lays it up for two. Stubblefield trying to go quick now for Westside, get a bucket of his own, and he does just that. Layup for Stubblefield. And that is going to force a timeout by Westside, their first of the game, to talk this one over with the Warriors. So 32-30 is your score. I mean, we keep saying it. This is a back-and-forth ball game. That's exactly
really
what you would
is.
expect from a number 2 seed going up against a number 3 seed with everything on the line, folks. So again, just a quick timeout by Westside, coming off of a Kevin Stubblefield bucket. They're just going to talk this one over with the troops.
3:45 left in the third.
And real quick, I want to thank my sponsor, Erickson Cedarstrom, fronting you 55 years of legal excellence. If you want the best legal work in the city of Omaha or the state of Nebraska, please contact Erickson Cedarstrom, and they're going to get you done right. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in all day today for Class B and Class A semifinals, and we'll be back tomorrow for every single championship game. Just tune in here on Millard South Media. You can check the scoreboard or the call. So both teams retaking the floor. Millard North has it on their end. Elijah Gates on the left wing, working on Healy. Crossover, almost dropped him. Trying to feed Rollins inside. He'll go off on what they call a Westside defender. He'll stay with Millard North. So Neil Mosser up by 2 points with his Mustangs will inbound to Derek Rollins. Over to Major Mosser, now to Rahman. Nice backdoor cut to Rollins, doesn't take a layup. Now bodying Stubblefield. Tough layup this time, and he's fouled. So Kevin Stubblefield with yet another foul.
Was not happy about that one.
That's going to send Derek Rollins to the line. So Rollins, who does it in basically every category for this Millard North squad, has struggled from the free throw line this year, only averaging 63%. First one for the star forward is up and good. Neil Mosser checking out this game for Millard North. Expect him to get a breather, and he'll be in for the rest of this one. So Derek Rollins, couple dribbles, getting ready for a second free throw. This one's on the way as well. No good off the back part of the iron. Rebounded by Westside. C.J. Mitchell will walk across the midline. And he gives it over to Ricky Lofton. Lofton working his way over to Caleb Benning now. Benning's had a slow day so far, but has controlled this offense, really been the point guard. Benning to Lofton. Now Mitchell in the corner. Over to Stubblefield, trying to work his way inside the post. Back over to Mitchell. Now Lofton. Lofton at the top of the key. Maneuvering his way inside the paint. Has to kick it out. It's tipped and is taken away by Millard North. Elijah Gaith will walk across the midline. Gaith over now to Rollins. Rollins, no dribble. Gives it over to now to Rahman. All around the perimeter. Rahman over to the right wing, now the right corner. That's Elijah Gaith. Elijah Gaith working off a screen. Tough mid-range. Jay on the way. No good. And that one's rebounded by the Warriors. Oddvadi going the other way now for Westside. He drops to the ground. No foul is called. Ball's going to roll out of bounds, and it will be Millard North basketball. Yeah, I couldn't tell what happened there. Oddvadi just tripped over his own 2 feet and lost the basketball and went out.
Both players got up fine.
So 2 minutes left to play in the third quarter. Millard North, the number 2 seed, up by 3. Major Mosser gives it over to Derek Rollins on the right wing, guarded by Kevin Stubblefield. Now Elijah Gaith has it. Gaith, nice backdoor cut over to Rollins. Tough layup, no good. And Rollins punches the ball out to Gaith. Offensive board. Gaith, Euro step, layup, got it.
Textbook Euro step there.
And that is going to force a Millard North timeout to talk things over with the troops. Up by 5 points, only a 30-second timeout. That's their first today. Again, we just talked about it all game, how back and forth this one is. It's to the point where this is the largest lead of the day for Millard North. It's only 5 points. So right now on the screen, they're doing a little bit of a student section battle. And I will say Millard North student section has been superior today, a little bit deeper than Westside's.
Yeah, probably the biggest we've seen all day.
But yeah, both teams are representing very well for their squads, and they know what's at stake. Millard North fighting for their 5th straight appearance in the state title game, and then Westside looking for their first in over 40 years, which is, I mean, that'd be probably surprising if you're learning that for the first time. I know I was, when we think of Westside's dominance in just about every sport. So C.J. Mitchell will bring it across the midline for the Warriors, down by 5 points here with a minute left to play in the third quarter. C.J. Mitchell patrolling. Gives over to Anderson, the right corner, back over to Mitchell. Mitchell trying to drive inside, back to Anderson. 3-pointer on the way for him, no good. And it's just going to roll out of bounds. I think that's been the story today for Westside. There's just an inability to make some good looks, especially those 3-pointers. I mean, Kevin Stubblefield can't do it all for this team. So now Millard North trying to respond up by 5 points. Rahman has it at the top of the key. Guarded by Anderson. Now Gaith in the corner. He'll drive baseline. They say he stepped out. Looks like his right heel just clipped what looks like the out-of-bounds marker. So Westside will take over.
Simply just got to have better vision. We're out there on the court, getting near the sidelines.
Looks like Gaith checked out.
So C.J. Mitchell gives it over to Caleb Benning now on the left wing. Now over to Anderson. Now to C.J. Mitchell on the right corner. Mitchell patrolling. Over to Stubblefield. Back to Mitchell. Back and forth action. Anderson now trying to feed Healy inside. Back to Anderson, who's coming off the bench. Stubblefield now 3-pointer from the corner. Got it to go. Kevin Stubblefield. I mean, he's been the man today for the Warriors.
Yes, he has. That'll make 17 for him so far.
It's now Millard North only leading by 2. Neil Mosser guarded closely by Benning, trying to poke it free. Mosser with a tough pass taken away by Kevin Stubblefield. He'll go the other end. Turn a drive inside, kicks over to Anderson. Pass him a three, drives baseline. Tough floater. No good off the glass. Rebounded by Derek Rollins. Shot clock is now off. And you can see from the body language of Millard North, they're going to look to wait to get one last shot here in this quarter. So Rodman has it on the Husker logo. Millard North is going left. And it looks like they're just going to take a quick timeout to talk this one over, discuss a game plan with 13 seconds officially left in this third quarter. Looks like when we come back, Elijah Gates will be checked in. So we're just going to keep it right here in the time being. Look at the stat sheet right now. Derek Rollins, 11 points. For Millard North, Neil Mosser up to 8. We look at Westside, and really it's just been the Kevin Stubblefield show. He has 17, and nobody else has double digits. CJ Mitchell, the second closest, with 7. And really, it feels like if Millard North can somehow contain Kevin Stubblefield, it'll be hard for the Mustangs not to win this ballgame, guys.
I totally agree. I mean, Stubblefield has half of their points, if not more.
Yep. A little more than half of the, Westside's points are allocated to Kevin Stubblefield's name. So again, just a quick timeout here by Millard North with 13 seconds remaining. They're going to talk this one over with the troops and really just trying to set up a plan coming off of an inbound to get a bucket and extend their lead going into the fourth quarter of action. So Westside will retake the floor now. Millard North will. Both starting lineups on the ball in the game for both teams.
And the pace of this game has been really interesting. You know, it's been up and down from fast to slowing things down. Both teams are doing a great job playing basketball the way they want to play basketball.
So Elijah Gaith to inbound, throws it all the way over to Neil Mosser. Neil Mosser bringing across the timeout, 10 seconds, guarded by C.J. Mitchell. Back to Gaith on the left wing. Gaith. 3 from the wing, no good off the back iron. Buzzer will expire, and that is the end of the third quarter here on Millard South Media. The number 2 ranked team in Class A, Millard North, up by 2 points over number 3 Westside with 8 minutes left to play to decide who goes to the state title game, folks. So we're going to take a quick break here on Millard South Media, and we will be right back for the fourth quarter. Grab some popcorn. Tell your friends, family, it's going to be a phenomenal game. And you're going to want to be here for the ending. So we will be right back. And welcome back to this one. Fourth quarter underway here at Pinnacle Bank Arena with an appearance for the Class A state title on the line. Millard North has the basketball, and they're quickly fouled by Westside. So after the foul, Millard North will inbound under their own hoop, up by 2 points. Westside trying to get loud with a Florida State chant. And another kickball on the floor, so another inbound coming for Millard North. Gaith to inbound, over to Neil Mosser in the corner. Now to Money at the top of the key. Money setting up the offense. Over to Rollins. Rollins backing down Kevin Stubblefield, looking for a shot. He's double teamed. Tough pass. Stays with Millard North. They give it over to the corner. Neil Mosser, pass up a 3, drives inside. Tough layup for Mosser. Rolls, no good. Rebounded by Kevin Stubblefield of Westside. He'll bring it across the other end. Trying to tie up this ball game. Gives it over to Mitchell. 3-point on the way. Bang! C.J. Mitchell connects for the lead. Neil Mosser across the timeline. Facing a 1-point deficit. He's got to get going for the Mustangs. He gives it over to Money. Money, crossover, working his way inside on Healy, backing him down. And has to just kick it over to Gaith. Gaith, the top of the key, crossover, driving, tough layup, no good as well. Rebounded by Westside.
Rebounded and a foul.
Yeah, there's going to be a foul on the Mustangs, so again, it'll just stay with the Warriors.
And Westside finds himself with a ball and a lead. Just under 7 minutes left.
So C.J. Mitchell will give it over to Kevin Stubblefield on the baseline. Now back to Mitchell. Three-pointer all the way again for him. Got it again! C.J. Mitchell is unconscious! And Westside's up to a 4-point lead.
I mean, what can you expect if you leave him wide open like that?
The Westside fans getting loud here. Money on the other end now for the Mustangs. Working his way inside. Spin move. Tough layup. Got it to fall. Camden Money with a bucket that Millard North needed badly.
Yep, good response there.
So now Westside on the other end with a 2-point lead. C.J. Mitchell gives it over to Ricky Lofton. Back to Mitchell on the right wing. Mitchell to Benning. Now to Healy on the left corner. Now to Benning. Benning trying to work his way inside. Still a 3-point line. Over to Stubblefield. Passes up a 3. Now will maneuver his way to the paint. Loses the basketball. The ball is on the floor. Both teams fighting for it. Westside gets under Ricky Lofton. Lofton will drive inside. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Healy, layup, got it. Carson Healy with a nice cut like you just said, Jonathan. And Westside back up to a 4-point lead. Neil Mosser trying to respond for the Warriors. He gives it over to Gaith on the right wing. Derek Rollins working his way inside. Stubblefield pokes it free. It'll stay with Rollins. Tough fadeaway. Got it. Derek Rollins. Both teams giving them back-to-back buckets. Oh, my goodness. Excited about this ball game, folks. So 2-point ball game. Westside has it on their end now, going right on this basketball court. C.J. Mitchell, who's been phenomenal here in this fourth quarter, gives over to Stubblefield. Loses the basketball. It'll stay with the Warriors. And again, welcome up to the booth, guys. We're going to have the face cam on for the remainder of this one. So Westside will inbound. We give it over to C.J. Mitchell. C.J. Mitchell has it on the left wing, guarded closely by Elijah Gaith. Now to Stubblefield. Get ball moving all around the perimeter. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Caleb Benning now has it on the right wing. Over to Stubblefield inside the paint. Kicks it over to Healy. Tough three-pointer on the way. No good. But Westside gets under for another rebound. Second chance. Stubblefield. 3. Bang! Kevin Stubblefield.
Wow.
Up to 20 points in this one.
Westside is on a roll from the 3-point line.
Millard North on the other end now. 3-pointer. No good. And that one's rebounded by Stubblefield. If you're Westside, you want to slow things down, up by 5 points. Kevin Stubblefield has it. Over to Mitchell, and he'll do just that. Picks up his dribble, commanding the offense. Now working inside. Finds a lane. Tough layup. No good. I think Derek Rollins might have got a piece of that. Mustangs trying to go quick. Neil Mosser has it on the left wing. Now throws it all the way over to Urbanek, who pulls the trigger on a 3, and he got it to go. Grant Urbanek connects for a triple, and that's going to force a timeout on the floor.
3-point shootout here late.
Again, we just saw both teams trading blows. Westside with a couple 3-pointers, and then Millard North responds with one of their own. But right now, the number 3 seeded Warriors up by 2 points with 4 minutes remaining in this one. So there's a timeout on the floor that'll be on Millard North. So head coach Mike Etzel-Miller will talk it over with his boys. Warriors doing the exact same thing with their head coach Jim Simons. They know what's on the line, folks. An appearance in a Class A state title tomorrow night. And real quick, I want to remind all of you guys that we will be back tomorrow for all of the action, whether that is the D1 final, the Class B final, Class A final, anything you can imagine. We will have it here on Millard Top Media. So just pop in, check the score, check out the call, whatever you want to do. But make sure to subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss out on any of that. Both teams retaking the floor. 4 minutes left to play in this ball game. Westside leads by 2 points. They're going to inbound. The Westside fans making some noise. Student section has done a good job in this fourth quarter, giving their team some energy.
Yes, they have. Benning taking it up the floor for Westside.
Caleb Benning commanding the offense there on the left wing, guarded closely by Derek Rollins. A little bit of a mismatch. He'll drive inside, working his way to the paint. Tough layup, no good. Rebounded by Millard North. Camden Money now over to Elijah Gaith. Gaith has it on the Husker logo. Now to Neil Mosser over to the corner. That's Money. Both teams a little bit gassed out there. I think that's why there was a timeout. Now Neil Mosser will drive inside, kicks over the corner. Three-pointer for the lead. No good. And that was rebounded by Kevin Stubblefield of Westside. So Caleb Benning will slow things down for the Warriors, up by 2 points. You don't want to force a bad shot.
Just over 3 minutes left.
Good ball movement all around the perimeter. Benning, C.J. Mitchell, top of the key, guarded by Rollins, backing up. Now to Stubblefield, three-point on the way, no good. That was a little bit of a heat check for Kevin Stubblefield. Saw some daylight, said, why not? Neil Mosser fakes the pass, now trying to feed Rollins inside. Good defense by Stubblefield to poke it out of bounds, but it's going to stay with Millard North.
Millard North running out of time here. Only down by 2, but they just have to be efficient with these possessions.
So here we go, inbound coming for Millard North under their own basket. They fit it into Money on the right corner, who gives over to Neil Mosser on the right wing. Mosser directing traffic, trying to drive in on Mitchell, backing him down inside the post. Neil Mosser, tough fadeaway, Jay, air ball. Rebounded by Westside. Stubblefield will take it the other way, but it's taken away by Millard North. Gaith going quick. And there's going to be a foul on the floor. So Gaith drives inside the lane. I think they're going to call that actually a shooting foul, which is going to send Eli Gaith to the charity stripe with a chance to tie up this ball game.
Gaith shooting 65% from the free throw.
So there's going to be a Westside timeout. We're going to keep it right here on Millard South Media. They lead by 2. We've said it all game. Back and forth, back and forth. Westside down going into this fourth quarter. They came off the gates firing. C.J. Mitchell really lit the torch for the Warriors. Now they're 2 minutes away from potentially getting back to the state title for the first time in about a decade.
Yeah.
And when we look at Millard North, they're the more veteran team. They've been here time and time again. They're trying to punch their ticket for the 5th year in a row. But this is the most adversity they've probably faced in a long time, guys.
For sure. Westside is not going down without a fight.
So again, timeout on the floor. It's a Westside timeout. They have 3 remaining. Millard North has 2. Neither team's really in foul trouble, to say the least. Not something anybody's going to have to worry about.
This is edge of your seat basketball right here.
Again, I want to thank everybody joining us here for this broadcast. It's going to be a phenomenal finish. You're going to want to stick around also for tomorrow's games. It's going to be just as good. But let's take it back to the court. Again, if you're just joining us, my name's Will Stimmen alongside my partners, Jonathan Spieler and Mason Steinhoff. So 2 minutes 30 left to play. Millard North is down by 2, but Elijah Gaith is at the free throw line for them for a pair. Elijah Gaith. Huge free throws. First one for him is on the way, and it is in for the point guard. Elijah Gaith averaging 65% from the free throw line. Has an opportunity to tie up this game at 44. Second one now for him is also all nets. We're knotted up.
Huge.
So C.J. Mitchell, who's been phenomenal in this fourth quarter, will bring it across the timeline. Gives it over now to Caleb Benning. Benning to Stubblefield. Back and forth action across the perimeter. Stubblefield working his way inside. Backdoor cut. Taken away by Millard North. Elijah Gaith will push the pace for the Mustangs. He'll slow it down now with 2 minutes left to play. Has it on the Husker logo, guarded by Stubblefield. Now gives it over to Urbanek. Urbanek to Neil Mosser. Mosser with only 8 points today, but he can hit big buckets. Gaith now on the right wing. Throws it all the way to the other corner. Urbanek, tough pass over to Money. Layup on the way, got it to go. Back and forth action by Millard North, and they retake the lead.
Very nice handoff there.
So now Mustang fans getting loud, up by 2. Westside setting up their offense. Stubblefield has on the left wing. Tough pass over to Lofton, almost taken away. Ball is free. It's going to go out of bounds. Who would they say it's out on? And they're going to say it's Millard North basketball.
Wow.
So that one was poked free off of a bad pass and went all the way to the left side of the court, and Millard North's going to take over. And when we come back, they will inbound under their own basket. So Westside takes another timeout to talk this one over. They're now down by 2 points. They have 2 free throws remaining.
Millard North happy about that call. Some of the calls tonight have not particularly gone their way, but that one ends up going.
Yeah, that's a good point, Jonathan, especially in the first half. There were a couple calls where Millard North fans were not happy about it. Yeah, they were probably not great calls, but now with a pretty good call there, now they're going to inbound under their own basket up by 2 points. Everybody in the arena right now knows what's at stake. Westside, which has historically not been the best program in basketball, with an opportunity to go back to the state title game for the first time in a decade. And Millard North, a run of dominance, trying to face a common foe, the Bellevue West T-Birds. So here we go, both teams to retake the floor. Westside down by 2. They're going to play defense as Millard North will inbound under their own basket. Elijah Gaith will do the job for the Mustangs. And here we go. Ref's about to let him go. Elijah Gaith has it. Serving, looking for anybody to pass to. Now gives it over to Neil Moss in the left corner. Gives it over to now to Urbanek. Now to Moni. Moni working at the top of the key, guarded closely by Carson Healy. Gives it out to Elijah Gaith. He'll slow things down, set up the offense. Has plenty of time on the shot clock. Now drives inside. Finds a lane. Tough pass to Rollins, and it rolls out.
And that is a pass that you don't want to see this late in the game. He was trying to hand it off there for that easy layup. But
just went off the hands of Derek Rollins.
Yeah, I don't think Rollins was ready for it.
Got to be ready for anything at this point in the game.
So C.J. Mitchell brings it across the timeline over to Caleb Benning. Now Ricky Lofton. Ball moving all around the perimeter. Caleb Benning has it on the right wing over to C.J. Mitchell. Pass up a good look from 3. Has to drive in. Loses his dribble. Somehow stays with Westside. Now Carson Healy has it. The Warriors will reset with C.J. Mitchell now on the right wing, guarded by Rollins. 10 seconds on the shot clock. He's working his way around the perimeter. Driving inside. Over to Stubblefield. Pass up a 3. Driving baseline.
5.
Tough layup. Now to the wing. Now to the top of the key. 3-pointer.
Blocked.
Not even close. And that is going to be a shot clock violation, but they say there was a foul on the way up, which is going to send Carson Healy to the line for 3. 3 free throws. And yeah, that was maybe a questionable call. Oh, no, he ran into him.
It was after the.
So Carson Healy with some of the biggest free throws of his career. First one up and in for him. Westside cuts the deficit to 1. I mean, this is a guy who is averaging around 60%. Second one now. No good off the back iron. The plot intensifies.
Crucial miss right there.
Third and final one now for Carson Healy with an opportunity to tie up this ball game. Westside's going to make a couple substitutions. Been talking this over with the troops. And here we go. Carson Healy. Third and final free throw. Down by 1. Trying to tie up this ball game for his Warriors. Crowd getting loud. Free throw up, and it is good. All tied up at 46. There's about a 2-second difference between shot clock and game clock. Elijah Gaith will bring it across the timeline. He has on the Husker logo. Crowd getting loud on the west side of things. They are going to hold. The crowd is all on their feet here at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Elijah Gaith has on the Husker logo. Again, both teams standing still, letting this clock drain down. 1 second difference between shot clock and game clock. Here we go. Elijah Gaith setting up the offense. 7 seconds, top of the key. Guarded by Benning, driving inside. Tough layup on the way, but he's fouled. They're going to call a stoppage on the floor. They're going to talk this one over. So what initially looked like a foul, I don't know what it was.
Whatever.
They're going to call this a foul on the floor. So Millard North will inbound. It looked like it was on the shot. So with officially 4 seconds left in this ball game, Millard North is going to have an inbound coming. Here we go. Shot clock is off. Everybody on their feet here at Pinnacle. Elijah Gaith to inbound under his own basket. And there is going to be a timeout for both teams to talk this one over. We knew this would come down to the end. I didn't think it would be in this kind of a fashion, guys. So again, officially 4.2 on the clock here at Pinnacle. Timeout by Westside to talk this one over. Again, this has just been the definition of a back-and-forth ball game. I mean, that's all we can say here, right, Jonathan?
It's
just a wow. Yeah, I mean, you're darn right. As good of a game as it gets. We talked about it on the car right here to Lincoln, Nebraska. We said the semifinals might just be better than championships with how well they play. Again, always goes down the wire, and they're doing exactly that.
And you really can't get better than this. I mean,
just two darn good basketball programs right here.
I think we deserve overtime, guys. I mean, we might just deserve overtime for as good of a game as this has been. So set the framework for you. It's 46-46. Millard North, after a timeout, is going to have an inbound under their own baskets with an opportunity to win the game at the buzzer. If not, this game will go to overtime. Here we go. Both teams retaking the floor. Elijah Gaith has it under his own basket, is going to inbound for the Mustangs. Here we go. The ref hands the ball to Elijah Gaith. Surveying, looking for anybody to pass to. Now throws it over. Three-point on the way. No good, rattles out. Rebound Westside, and we have overtime basketball. He found Grant Urbanek on the left wing, almost wide open, and it just rattles off. And what has been a phenomenal game is not done just yet, folks. We have 4 more minutes of basketball here in overtime.
That was close.
I mean, from our perspective, it looked like that was going to go all nets. But instead, we have 4 minutes. Woo! Everybody, calm yourself. Take a quick, deep breath, and we have some more basketball here. So let's get ready for overtime. 4 minutes on the clock. Again, they usually 8 minutes per period. They cut that down in half, 4 minutes. Again, we're going to have face cam for the rest of this game just so you can see our reactions. We're also figuring this out live just like you are at home. So because of overtime, Westside and Millard North gets an extra timeout now to the disposal. So Millard North's now at 3 timeouts. Westside will go to 2 timeouts. What has been one of the best games we've seen in the last decade here at Pinnacle Bank Arena for Class A is not done just yet. We are going to overtime, and both teams will retake the floor. Here we go. Student section getting loud for Westside, and we're going to have a tip-off. Derek Rollins will do the job for the Mustangs. On the other side of things, it'll be Kevin Stubblefield, who has 20 points in this ball game. Here we go. The tip is up, and Millard North corrals it. So Elijah Gaith for the Mustangs will bring it across the timeline. Gives it over to the right wing, now trying to feed Derek Rollins inside. He's being double-teamed immediately, now feeds it right back to the wing. Now Neil Mosser has it at the top of the key, trying to drive inside. Now to Moni. Moni, top of the key once again. Over now to Gaith. Gaith will slow things down, 10 seconds on the shot clock. They need to get something up. Now Moni maneuvering his way to the paint, and there's going to be a foul called on the floor, and the Mustangs will have an inbound coming.
Healy for that foul.
So again, 46-46 ball game, overtime basketball here on Millard South Media. Gaith to inbound. Scanning, looking for anybody. Now has to throw it up to Neil Mosser. Mosser over to Moni. Now Rollins. Pass up a good look from 3. He'll just dribble this basketball. Now to Moni. Moni driving inside. Maneuvering. Tough pull around Jay. No good. Rebounded by the Warriors. They're trying to trap him. He has to get rid of this basketball.
He's in the corner.
Now throws it over to C.J. Mitchell. Now a fast break. 2-on-1. Mitchell to the rack. Tough layup. No good off the glass. Rebounded by Derek Rollins. So the Mustangs will slow things down. Neil Mosser will do the job. He brings it across the midcourt line. Westside student section trying to provide a little bit of a distraction for this Millard North offense. Gaith driving. Tough pull-up Jay, no good. Board is up, he gets his own. Second chance now for Elijah Gaith. Second chance, no good as well. Ball is all around, and Millard North somehow gets under it again. And C.J. Mitchell just fouls Neil Mosser right away. Neil Mosser threw up a circus shot after the play was called dead and almost falled in. So 43-43. Westside is up to 5 fouls. That's going to send Millard North to the bonus. So the fouls carried over from the fourth quarter. So Neil Mosser with 2 massive free throws. He's averaging 80% of the line this season, and he makes the first one. Millard North reclaiming their lead, trying to get right back to the state title.
This is the guy you want in the line for Millard North.
Second one for Mosser. No good off the front part of the iron. Rebounded by Ricky Lofton. C.J. Mitchell now bringing it across the timeline. Over to Benning. Benning driving baseline. Has to kick it over to the other corner to Healy. Healy will reset. Good defense here by the Mustangs. Over back to Mitchell. Mitchell on the left part of the court, now in the corner. Working his way inside. Has to find somebody to pass to. Now goes over to Benning, who resets once again. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Back to Mitchell on the Husker logo. Setting up a play. 6 seconds. Has to get something off. Working his way inside. Puts up a tough layup, and that one is no good, not even close. Millard North will bring it across the other end. Elijah Gaith has the basketball. And he will bring it across the midline. Has it at the top of the key. Guarded closely by Benning. Now gives it over to Neil Mosser on the right wing. Mosser trying to work his way inside over to Money. Now the corner at Gaith. Back to Mosser. Left wing. Trying to feed Rollins inside. He gets it to him. Guarded by Stubblefield. Rollins throws up to the hoop. No good. Gets it on board. Second chance, and it's stuck in the rim.
Wow. Don't see that often.
A wedgie is what they like to call it. So because of that, that's going to send Derek Rollins to the line. I think they actually called a foul when he attempted that shot, so that's going to send him to the charity stripe. First free throw for Derek Rollins. No good off the back part of the iron. Man, you've got to think he's supposed to make those if you're a Mustang fan. So Millard North up by 1 point. Now has a second free throw for Derek Rollins, who's averaging about 60% from the line, trying to extend their lead. Shot is up and no good as well. Oh, rattles home, hits the back part of the iron and goes all the way up and all the way down. So C.J. Mitchell, who has right now 13 points for the Warriors, will bring it across. Trying to tie up this ball game over now to Caleb Benning on the right wing. Benning has it. Trying to drive in on Rollins over to Mitchell. 3-pointer away from the left wing. No good. Fighting for the board. It's still out, and Millard North gets under it. They throw it all the way over to Elijah Gaith, who's trying to go quick, and he'll now slow it down, waiting for both teams to get to that side of the court. 1 minute left to play here in overtime. Millard North leads by 2. Elijah Gaith on the Husker logo right at the midline. Perfectly fine with letting this clock drain down. Here we go. 45 seconds. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Gaith now trying to stop the offense. And there is going to be what looks like a foul off the ball on Westside. That is a critical mistake. And because of that, that's going to send Millard North to the free throw line. So Neil Mosser will do the job, who's averaging 80%, not the guy you want to see right now. 2 massive free throws for the senior Neil Mosser. First one is up and he knocks it down. Trying to extend their lead to 4 points here with the second one. Mosser up and all net. Westside now trying to go quick. C.J. Mitchell bringing it across the timeline. Millard North pumping up the crowd. Benning has at the top of the key. They need a bucket. He'll drive inside. Tough layup for Caleb Benning. Almost an and one, but he's going to go line for 2. Ooh, that one tempted us a little bit. Swirled around the iron. But Caleb Benning now with 2 massive free throws. So the Nebraska football commit averaging 60% from the free throw line. You've got to think he needs to knock both of these down for Westside to have a chance. Here we go. Caleb Benning, first one. Got it. Ice in his veins, no problem. 30 seconds remaining. Caleb Benning trying to get this to a 2-point deficit. Second one for him on the way. Also got it. And there's going to be a timeout by Westside to talk this one over with their Warriors. You've got to think right now, if you're Millard North, Westside, you have one of two options. One, you try to trap Millard North immediately and force a turnover, or two, force the basketball over to one of your worst free throw shooters, primarily Derek Rollins. If you can get him the basketball, that's a guy you'd probably like to have on the line for Millard North if you're a Westside fan. But again, you ideally you don't want Neil Maj to get the basketball if you're Westside, who's averaging 80%, folks. So a quick update on the stats. Kevin Stubblefield with 20 for Westside, but really hasn't had a bucket here in this overtime period or late fourth quarter. CJ Mitchell with 13. He lit fire in that fourth quarter, which really sparked Westside's lead. And then you look at Millard North. I mean, they're distributing the basketball. Rollins with 14, Motzer with 11, and then Gaith with 12. So Westside with a timeout. They have one remaining here in this overtime period. Millard North is going to inbound up by 2 points. And you've got to think Westside will probably foul them right away, if not just forcing a turnover. Here we go. Both teams retaking the floor. Millard North to inbound. Grant Urbeck will do the job. They have to go the entire full court. Full court press look from Westside. Caleb Bennick trying to distract Urbanek. And he gets it in to Money. Money being trapped right away. They throw it up to Gaith. Gaith gets across the timeline. You've got to think they've got to foul him right now. And they almost lose the basketball. It's going to be a jump ball. They're going to call a jump ball on the floor, and it's Westside possession. The ball goes free, and Westside takes over. Absolute worst case scenario for Millard North. So here we go. Westside will inbound down by 2 points with an opportunity to take the lead or tie up this ball game. Here we go. Caleb Benning to inbound for the Warriors. They give it over to C.J. Mitchell. Mitchell over now to Stubblefield. Stubblefield's just going to hold this basketball, wait for the last shot. Shot clock is now off. He's working on the top of the key. Now he's going to drive inside. And there's going to be a foul before the shot was up. He did make the layup, but he is fouled. Millard North has a foul to give. So an inbound coming with 10 seconds remaining in this ball game. Here we go. C.J. Mitchell on inbound under his own basket. And another timeout on the floor. That one's going to be, I believe, a Westside timeout, or excuse me, a Millard North timeout to discuss this one. So 10 seconds, especially 10.4 remaining in this game. And Westside, when we come back off of a Millard North full timeout, will inbound under their own basket. Everybody is on their feet here at Pinnacle Bank Arena. I think the people want double overtime. I think that's what they want. Again, thank you for joining us, and I want to have a quick reminder that we will be back with every single championship game tomorrow here on Millard South Media, so you don't miss out on any of the action. Please hit that subscribe button. You can just check in, pop in, check the score, or just listen to the call. Again, my name is Will Dittman alongside my partners, Jonathan Spieler and Mason Steinhoff, and let's get ready for the finishing seconds of this one. Overtime basketball, 10 seconds remaining. Westside down by 2, and they're going to inbound with an opportunity to tie or take the lead. Here we go. Off of the Millard North timeout, 10 seconds remaining. C.J. Mitchell will inbound for the Warriors. The ref hands it to him. Now he's surveying, looking for anybody to pass to. Still looking, has to throw it up, and they're going to call a timeout by Westside. I mean, he was almost to that 5 seconds, but thankfully they had a timeout in the back pocket, and they're going to discuss this one again. Another full timeout. So they're making us wait here. See the conclusion. So another timeout. That is Westside's last. Once again, to set the framework for you, it's been a back-and-forth ball game. Millard North missed a buzzer-beater 3 to take this game to overtime. Ever since then, in overtime, Millard North has been in control, but Westside just forced a jump ball And now we'll have an inbound coming under their own basket with an opportunity to tie or take the lead. And Millard North took their first timeout, which was a full timeout, and now Westside with another timeout just to discuss this one. Everybody knows what's at stake, folks. A bid for the Class A state title tomorrow. So again, both teams meeting, discussing this one over. Head coach for Westside, Jim Simon, setting up a game plan, trying to get one of their shooters a good look to either take the lead or tie up this game. So here we go. Both teams retaking the floor. CJ Mitchell once again will inbound the basketball for the Warriors. Starting lineups in the game for both teams. Here we go. They hand the basketball over to CJ Mitchell. Now he's scanning. Gives over to Healy immediately in the corner. Back over to Mitchell. Mitchell at the top of the key. Now do Stubblefield. Stubblefield on the right wing. Trying to drive inside. He loses the basketball. Millard North has it. They'll bring it across the other end. No foul. This one's over. The buzzer expires. And this ball game is over. There's a fight on the floor. Westside with perhaps a cheap shot. Millard North was trying to go for a dunk right when the buzzer expired. Ricky Lofton ran right into him, and this one is over in phenomenal fashion. Millard North will go back to the Class A state title game for the 5th year in a row in an overtime thriller at Pinnacle Bank Arena. As good as it gets, folks. So a little bit of bad blood there after the end of that ball game. Both teams now handshaking. Let's just, again, we're already in the booth. You guys saw our reaction. Again, my name is Wilson Dittman alongside Jonathan Spieler, Mason Steinhoff. Thank you, everybody who's tuned in today. Make sure to tune in tomorrow for the state title games. We're here with every single one. Let's start off with you, Mason. What did you see out there?
Well, I just think this game overall really did represent just the beauty of the sport of basketball. One of the most entertaining basketball games I've ever watched, and you guys have probably ever watched too. Both teams controlled the game very well, and that's why the game was decided in the final seconds. Millard North, much deserving of this win, but both teams really just played their tails off.
Jonathan?
Yeah, really just a game of momentum. I mean, it went back and forth the whole game, and Millard North just came out with it and finished it when it counted.
So we said about the start of the second half, whoever had the best dynamic duo was going to win this basketball game, and it's safe to say Derek Rollins and Neil Mosser proved that they're one of the best duos in all of Class A. So they're going to play Bellevue West, number 1 versus number 2, tomorrow at 6:15. Hopefully you join us here on Millard South Media if you don't want to miss out on any of the action. It's just a great couple of games today for Class B and Class A. Thank you for joining your Friday night with us here on Millard South Media. So I'd like to thank everybody who's been involved today. First off, special shout out to Connor Rhodes, who's been behind the scenes for us all day today. Connor Rhodes doing a phenomenal job. He's updating the scoreboard along with everything else. And, of course, our callers for us, me, Wilson Dittman, along with Jonathan Spieler and Mason Steinhoff. So we're going to be back tomorrow. We'll have every single game for you here on Millard South Media. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you then.